Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you don't already know me, my name is Kat and I recently got back to the UK after 2 years travelling the world. But I haven't stopped travelling. I very recently took a trip to Italy and today I'm going to give you all my juicy tips and tricks on visiting Siena in Tuscany. Let's go. Number 1, the best way to travel and get around Siena is on foot. I can guarantee you are going to be racking up the steps when you're in Siena and you won't be mad about it. Honestly, just walking the streets of Siena is an experience in itself. It's such a beautiful city. That picture you have in your mind of beautiful old school Italy with shutters and quirky old buildings and big churches and just the beauty of Italy, it's all there for you in Siena. And it's also not a particularly big city, so you can cover quite a lot of ground just by walking. Tip number 2, obviously if you're going to be walking around all day, you are going to be needing to stop for a fair few refreshments. So here are my top 3 places to go for a little snack, a little drinky, a little pick-me-up whilst you're exploring the city. Number 1, the best ice cream potentially in the world. Seriously. It's called Il Masgalano and it does the best gelato I have ever had, and probably the best I will ever have. It was sublime. My second recommendation is a sandwich shop called Il Bocconcino. I keep doing this with my hands today and it's really annoying me. Il Bocconcino. Seriously delicious Italian sandwich. Oh my... I could eat that sandwich and that ice cream every meal for the rest of my life. In fact, I'd have it for my last meal, 100%. My off-menu choice. Done. And lastly, a little freebie for you. Give me a second, my battery is flashing, so I'm gonna have to change. You can get all the free samples, free chocolate truffles, free biscuits, free shots, free... they had something else as well in... I think it's called Nino and Friends. All of these 3 recommendations, you can see me trying them for the first time in my Siena vlog, which I will link in the description below. I highly recommend to watch that, and then when you go to Siena, go to those places. Just dreamy. Number 3, if you have spent the whole day walking in Siena, then maybe save this part for the next morning, but there is a tower in Siena called Torre del Mangia, and you've got to climb it. It's in the main square. It's kind of scary and claustrophobic, and if you're scared of heights, like, brace yourself. But getting up to the top, the views are insane. It's beautiful. Highly recommend. Do it at sunset, do it at golden hour. It's not an easy climb. It is a lot of steps to go up, but it is well worth it when you get to the top. Number 4, the next best attraction to visit in Siena is the cathedral. You cannot miss it. It's massive. It's very close to the main square. It's a really impressive site, both outside and inside, and it only costs €5 to get in. Unless you want the guided tour, then it's a little bit more, but you can go in for €5, which I think is such good value. Have a little walk around. There's so much to see in there. And top tip, if you want, you can light a candle for a loved one or something, but it costs €1, so make sure you take €1 in with you, some change, because I was really sad that I wasn't able to do that when I was there, and my granddad had recently passed. I really wanted to light the candle and I couldn't because I didn't have any cash, because I just never have cash on me. So take €1 if you want to do that. Number 5, there are some streets in the city that you cannot drive on, or you can, but you're going to get charged. You need a permit to drive on certain streets in the centre of the city, so just really be careful. If you're arriving to Siena by car, be careful which streets you go down. If in doubt, ask your accommodation for recommendations of where to park and where you can and can't drive. They might even be able to get a permit for you. Tip number 6, 2 days in Siena is enough. Siena is a beautiful city, and if you've got more time, you could definitely spend more time there. But if you're really trying to squeeze in Siena into a trip, then if you've got 2 days, I think you'll be able to see and do a good amount of stuff that gives you a good feel for the place and doesn't leave you feeling like you didn't do anything that you wanted to do. Sorry about that, my camera just died, but as I was saying, 2 days in Siena is enough if that's all the time that you have. If you have more time and you want to spend more time in the area, there is a lot more you can do. In the surrounding areas of Siena, there are some other gorgeous little Italian towns. Obviously you're in Tuscany, so just driving from like one village to the next is gorgeous. Like, it's an amazing kind of road trip experience. Just south of Siena is like Tuscany wine country, and there are lots and lots of kind of B&Bs. They're like old school Italian family run B&Bs called agriturismos. They're like a classic old English Airbnb, but Italian, so way better and way cooler. Obviously they vary in standard and they vary in price. We stayed at a kind of, I'd say, mid-range agriturismo. We paid about €100 a night, I think, and it was gorgeous. If you're looking for some peaceful countryside stays, they do tend to be a little bit in the middle of nowhere, so you probably need a car. But if you do have a car on your trip, I would highly recommend. Number 7, if you have even longer to spend in Siena and that area, there are some waterfalls. There's a really gorgeous walk you can do. We didn't actually manage to do it because our time in Siena got cut slightly short, but there are some waterfalls. I will put a link in the description to a Google Maps link to show you where they are, and you can do this walk and the water just looks really blue. If you're in Siena in the summer months, I think this would be a 10 out of 10 experience to take you out of the towns, out into some countryside, and also cool down in some nice fresh water. And lastly, I want to recommend you the best time of year to visit. Now, most of you will probably be thinking some kind of time around the summer months when it's a bit warmer is a really good time to visit Siena, and I would agree. I actually went in June and I think this was the perfect time to visit. You're just outside of the school holidays, so you're not getting stuck in swarms of tourists. The weather's a little bit cooler because you're still not into the height of summer yet, but it's still a really good warm temperature. Obviously, months to avoid, as with most of Europe, would be July and August. If you've been to Siena before and you have more tips and tricks to share, please pop them in the comments below so you can share them out with the community. I will see you next week with another video. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye!